Hey guys, I'm Viper, and right now you're watching episode 3 of my tips and tricks series. Today basically we're just going to be going over how to make an underwater scene in After Effects. Now, right now I don't think you're going to need any third-party plugins, but I will tell you later in the tutorial if we will, because I might add in some some other effects. I will tell you you probably will need optical flares and trap code. So if you don't have those, go ahead and get them and then come back. And then we should be pretty much ready to go. Alright, so if you're ready, just go ahead and make a new composition. We're going to make it 10 seconds long, the standard, what I usually do. Make it 1920 by 1080 pixels, and you're pretty much set from there. Make the frame rate 30, and you can name it, or let's just say, water theme. Okay? And then we're good. So we have this black solid. And I really am kind of improving on all of this, so I'm kind of going to make it up as I go. So yours might look different as you do this, so it doesn't have to be the same thing every time. It can always be a little different. Okay, so we're actually going to go to a new layer, and we're going to get a solid, right? And we'll hit OK. Well, we're going to duplicate that layer. You can do Command D or Control D if you're on a Windows computer. And then just go ahead into the effects. You're going to want to go to trap code, and we're just going to get some particular. Now, I've done this in my earlier tutorials. I'm just making a smoke overlay kind of thing. So yeah, I'm going to go do that real quick. So if you're tuning in right now and you haven't seen my other tutorials, I'll show you what to do. So for particles, we're just going to bring that down a little bit, maybe to about 60, and I might change this as we go. We're going to want to make the point type a box. We're going to come down to emission extras and make the pre-run 100. Where it says emitter size X, Y, and Z, bump those up probably past 1,000, maybe almost 2,000. And the emitter size Z, you can probably bump that up to like 300, maybe 400 or so. 500 looks good. Okay. Now from here, all we need to do is go into our particle tab, and we're going to make this sphere feather, can't say that right, 100. And the life, we're going to double the composition, so since it's 10 seconds, we'll do like 20. It doesn't have to be exactly, it can just be around there. And let's see, we'll make the size pretty large. Go up until there's almost no black, there's almost no black, excuse me. So you want a lot of white, maybe like one, yeah. So this looks good where there's just a few black dots. And all you need to do is just lower the opacity a lot. And I forgot to tell you, we're actually going to go to, actually, you know what, we'll keep it like this. If you don't like the sphere, you can always go to cloudlet. I find sphere to look a little more, there's circles and it looks a little cleaner, but cloudlet looks more realistic. So if you can bump down the size on that and the opacity. So like you can kind of see from here, it also takes a little longer to render. So you guys can pick. I'm actually just going to go back to sphere because I like it a little better, and we'll bump up the size. And we will bump the opacity to about 2. Okay. So now you have this, and it kind of looks a little weird, but it's okay. We're actually going to change the color, and we're going to get kind of like a blue, maybe like a water blue, a mix between sky blue and then regular royal blue, so something in between like here. And we're going to get this kind of thing. Now this can be changed later. I'm not even sure if we're going to want to do this. So let's come up to get even a lighter blue for now. Alright. So we have this, and that's pretty much it. What you can do is come down to, actually go up to velocity, and we can change that to about 20, maybe 25. Now what that'll do is it's just going to slow it down, because if you do, it will go pretty fast. I'll render it out for you so you can see. Oh, I actually forgot something, so I'll render a second of this and you'll kind of see how fast they're popping up. kind of see how this is all popping around. You don't really want that. So it's really simple. All you need to do is come down to size over life and opacity over life. And if you see at the very right, there's actually these little options that you can pick. And there's it's like kind of the middle one. It's the third one from the bottom. If you just click that, you'll get this kind of shape like this. And yeah, and you'll see that it kind of darkens it, which is okay. And that's just because what it did is the birth, as it is being born and like emitted, it will slowly fade in, and it'll slowly grow, and then it'll slowly fade out, and it'll slowly shrink at this, all in this kind of triangular pattern. So that's that, and that's now a little better. We can bump up the opacity if you'd like, but we're not going to right now. Okay, let's bring it back to full. And we're gonna go ahead and we want a new layer. So I always like to work with black bars even before the project is over. So I have a black bars preset. I'll show you what it is if you don't know. And I'm actually gonna need to move that in the middle. All it is it's CC jaws with the completion at 90, the height at 0, the width at 10, and you're just gonna pick spikes. It actually, I'm not even sure if it matters if you do RoboJaw. Yeah, you can pick anyone as long as the height is at 0 and the width is 10 and completion is at 90. Okay, so now we have our kind of cinematic bars, and it's not really looking underwater yet, but it will. So the next effect is what's gonna make it look a little better. We're gonna get an adjustment layer and like that. Okay, and let's come down to Video Copilot Optical Flares. Hit Over Original on the render mode. Drag that underneath of the black bars. Go ahead and go to flicker, and we're going to want to make the speed about 10, excuse me, and we'll make the amount 10. Now what this will do is it'll kind of flicker it to give it a little shine, and we're also going to, if you look at the animation evolution, you'll kind of see that it starts to rotate and stuff. So all we need to do is, for the length of our project, it's about 10 seconds, we'll start at 0. So right here, we'll just hit keyframe, and then we'll go to 10 seconds, and we'll make it like maybe 200. Not that much, but something that you can notice. So now that we're done with that, go to Options. Go ahead and hit Clear All at the top, hit Yes. And I think I'll use Shimmer. So this is what it is. You can kind of bump up the brightness if you'd like. And you can change the color to that blue that I was talking about, like something like that. That's perfect. Hit OK once you get this kind of blue. You're going to bring it up top. You're going to make this scale a lot. And you're going to want to bring it up so that you kind of see these rays, right? You can kind of see these rays come down. That's what you really want. And from there, I'm actually just going to render it out so you guys can see the, okay, that's going to take a little while, so we'll do the quarter. Let that render out. You will kind of see the animating movement of the shine, and all it's going to do is, it's kind of like the sun doesn't always stay the same brightness because something might be blocking it or whatever, and the light might be reflecting it in a different way. So that's kind of, it gives it that realistic feel. Which is really cool. So I'll play it for you. You can definitely see now it's starting to rotate and give it some cool shine, which is really sweet. And that's probably one of the main elements, probably the key element to this underwater effect. Okay, so we're pretty much done with that now. I'm going to go back to full. And it doesn't matter where we are in this. Now we need a camera, and all we need to do is just hit camera. Depth of field if you'd like. I don't think I'm going to do it for now. You can if you want, but yeah, so I'm not going to. Go to new layer, make sure it's a solid, it doesn't matter what color, hit effect, go down to trap code and get your, let's go with particular. So it's just going to be another one. Go to emission extras, make the pre-run 100. Particles per second, keep that there, we'll change that later. Velocity, change that back down to about 40. Actually, make it 50. Make the velocity 50. And we want, go down to particle, make the life like I said, about 20 seconds. Doesn't really matter. Part of the sphere feather, make it 100. Nope. Size, we can bump that down to about 3. Alright, now we're going to want to make the size random 75 or 100. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Opacity as well, we'll make that a little lower, not too much though. And then so about 89 or 90. And then do the same thing where we did this. All this is going to do is just give it a little bit better effect. Okay, so now you kind of see it's just in the middle. We don't want that. We're actually going to want what do you call it? It needs to be wider. So go ahead and go to emitter type, hit box. And emitter size, drag it all the way out past 1000 for the X, and do about 2000 for the Y as well. It doesn't really have to be perfect. Okay, that's good. And then emitter size Z, crank that up a lot as well. So it's all random. All this is going to do is it's just going to give it some depth. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's actually go ahead and see if they are starting to move. Since I decreased the velocity on the particular, it's not going to be moving as fast. And we'll see how fast they're moving. That's actually too fast, so I'm going to go to velocity. I'm going to hit 20. So it's going to go really slow, but it's okay. Oops, so let's see, something like this. Sorry if the quality is bad. I'm rendering it quarter because this actually is going to take a long time to render if you don't have a good computer. And I do have a good computer, it's just I want to save time. So, alright, so yeah, now it's going perfect speed. Not going too fast because things don't go too fast underwater. You know, it kind of gives it that slow, nice, glowy look. Okay, so we're going to go to particles per second. I'm going to decrease it, so go to about 50, and that's just going to cut it in half, maybe 40. You can mess around, find the amount of particles you like. That looks good. Now, back to our camera, because we need this. All we need to do is just go into our camera tab, go to transform, and you'll see this position right here. You're just going to hit keyframe, and you're going to want to go to the end, and depending on if you want to zoom out, hold on. This is going to be zooming in, so this is going to make the particles come closer, I'm almost sure. So if we drag this down, let's just render it out real quick. The particles should be coming towards us. Just about, yeah. Okay, so now everything is tracked, and yeah, should be pretty cool. As you can kind of see, the particles are kind of moving towards us, which is really cool. Yeah, it's pretty nice. But I'm going to tell you, you don't need to do this camera animation. I don't have an actual intro. There's actually a way to import your Cinema 4D track your actual camera into After Effects and have it track literally everything in your composition, which is amazing. I've used it on a few of my intros. Maybe I can teach you guys that later, but it's a really nifty trick that you guys can use. Okay. Did I just say nifty? Yeah, I said it. It doesn't matter. Okay, so you're here now. So the camera is done with for now. We're going to actually start working on the floor, which is probably one of the coolest parts you guys might not have known how to do. We're just going to get a solid. Same composition size, of course. And you're going to want to do effect. Is it stylize? Hold on, let me find it. Noise and grain, excuse me. Noise and grain. And you're going to want to go to fractal noise. And right now you'll see it's kind of got that weird effect. I'm going to be right back because I actually need to go get a drink of water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And yeah, so you got your fractal noise here. And all you're going to want to do, you can mess around with these settings to find the exact kind of bumpy plane that you want. But all that we're really going to be doing is making this a 3D object. And from here, we're just going to go to transform, and where it says, I think orientation? Nope. Let me find out exactly which one it is. It may be, no, I'll tell you in a second, because I actually haven't done this in a while. It might be X rotation. Yes, okay, so the X rotation on the second little 0x, you're going to want to rotate it to about negative, negative like 85 maybe. Like negative 84 looks cool. Alright, so all you need to do from here is just make the position Z back a little bit. And you're going to want to bring it down so, oops, excuse me, that was bad. Down. Okay, so you see it's here, and you just need to mess with the settings so you can kind of bring it down and make it so it looks like it's lying at a floor. We're actually going to go to X rotation and make it 90, negative 90. I actually don't think it matters. So yeah, this is going to look a little better. You're going to want to bring it back. Yeah, so bring it back until it meets up with the edge of that. Go to the very beginning frame, and that looks good. So from here, you're going to probably be wondering, well, right now it's just this one big plane and it doesn't look right. It's pretty simple. We're actually going to go ahead and drag this under our flare and particles because we want it to look a little better. I think that's it. Alright, so now, yeah, you see that. Just go ahead to our blacks. Which one was it? Yeah, this. And go to opacity and drop it down a lot, actually. So that's actually looking a little better. Maybe 40. 40 might look good. 40 looks good. And yeah. So keep in mind, we don't even have a color correction on this right now, so it's looking even pretty good with that one. What we're going to do is we're going to get a mask. And let's go to ellipse tool. And we're just going to get a very big kind of oval shape that we can cut across through here so we can give it a little fade. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Kind of want to, I can't go any farther. That's fine, I should be able to zoom out and drag this. So once you kind of have this thing, you should be able to move it. Yeah, you should be able to move it, and you're going to kind of want to bring it to the center of your thing. And now it'll kind of give it a little bend, but at the same time, you'll see what I mean in 1 second, it's actually going to allow us to go into our mask and go to mask feather. And if we just bump this up to maybe about, hold on, I don't want to see this. Let's say 200 looks good, maybe a little over 200. That's looking really nice. So now that you kind of can see, let's just go ahead and render, and you'll see that it continues to go through our, the camera is going through the, I'm sorry, I can't talk. It's going across the particles, it's tracking with the particles and the floor, which looks pretty cool. So you can kind of see it's going in, and you notice as we get closer to the end of the intro, for example, right here, there's not enough of it, so it's actually a simple fix. Just go into our, this one, and I think you can do Z. No, we're going to have to go in manually, go to your transform, find the one that goes the Z, so it actually should be this one. Should be that, and make it so it's like just about, and make it so at the very end frame, if you go to the very end frame, make it so it fits just how much you want it at the very end, because you want to keep it about the same. So like that looks fine, maybe even a little more. So for my settings, it's at 221, and you're going to want to go ahead. Let's see here. You're going to want to make this a little bigger. So when we go here, you kind of can see that that looks really bad. We need to drag this, right? So now you can see that it's looking a little better. We're going to drag it down just a little bit. Maybe even a little more. So about right there. And we're just going to make it so it fits. So now we play it. It should be going across, I think, pretty good. Hold on, let's see. Let's just make sure. Okay, so in fact, we do need to continue to, I'm really sorry because I haven't done this in a while, like I said. We're just going to bump up the scale. Okay? And that should do it. Okay, that actually looks a little better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up the scale actually a lot. And now you can kind of see there's not a lot of ground like that you can kind of see, which is fine. And if you want to change that, you know, you can mess with the complexity up here. And obviously the contrast as well. If you want it to be a lot, like you can now see that that's even more. So I'm going to keep it like this, and that actually should be good. So we go ahead and hit play. You'll see that everything is tracked, just like I said. And I'll let it render out for you guys. Sorry if this tutorial has been pretty sloppy. Like I said, I don't do this on a script. It's all in my head. So yeah, you see it's going pretty slow, which is really nice. And yeah, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to show you one important thing. We're going to import a intro of mine so I can show you how to do something. For instance, I think what would look good if we get our one of my latest ones, my Dark Trinity intro. If you haven't seen it, there's actually it's kind of interesting. There's actually a floor at the very beginning, and it fades away later. All right. So from here, we're just gonna drag this down, and we're gonna want to put it on top. Oh, come on. All right, there it is. All right, so we're gonna go under our adjustment layer, but put it over the floor, but not on the particles. Okay, so it's here. You won't see anything because it's only a couple seconds like less. But from here, it's not tracked, so don't. It doesn't matter about that. All I'm going to be showing you is that you just need to duplicate your intro layer, right? Once you have everything tracked, it shouldn't be an issue. But go ahead, right-click on your underlayer. Go to layer styles, and you're going to want to hit color overlay. Now we're going to want to go into color overlay and make it black. We're going to want to go to Gaussian blur, drag that onto our render, and we're going to bump that up a lot. Okay? So now you can kind of see it's giving it that like weird like drop shadow, but we don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and mess with the scale and the rotation as well. So we're also going to make it a 3D layer. Actually, that probably won't work. We just need to kind of scale it down and position it the way we want. So go ahead and get your layer, and you can kind of see right now it's looking like a shadow. You're just going to want to scrunch it down. And right now, we're going to want to drag it into the middle of our layer. So if we go back right here, you will now see if we scrunch it down even a little more, it's looking like it's lying down on our plane surface. And that's what we're trying to get. That's what we're trying to go for. So if we play it here, as long as everything's looking good, yes. You can kind of, ooh, that doesn't look too good. All right, let's drop it down even lower. And over here, you just need to play with it and make sure at all times it's on the floor, because that's what you're trying to go for. Alright, so that looks cool. We're actually just going to go and hit T, and we're going to drop the opacity actually a lot, maybe like 50. So drop it in half, and if you hit render, the shadow is going to be tracked with your object, and it's going to be on the plane, which will look really cool. So let that render out. And I might have not added enough Gaussian blur, but you can add more if you'd like. And you can kind of see it's starting to look like you've got a shadow underneath, which is actually a really decent effect. And you're probably wondering, this looks exactly like my my FX intro, and yeah, that's kind of where I came up with the idea. So yeah, so here it is, a little fast run. You can kind of see, boom, very nice. And this was just a random intro that I chose. So yeah, there you have it. I'm actually going to go ahead and add another little adjustment layer so we can get a nice little color correction going on. Go to edit, and yeah, so from here we're going to go to tools, we're going to go to lens, and right off the bat we'll get a vignette, which is going to make everything look so sexy. It already looks amazing, like it's just the spotlight is on the logo, which is crazy good. Go to edge softness, we're going to do about the same thing. We're going to shorten it up, make it a little bigger. Go to matte and go to your diffusion, and we're going to bump this up. Actually bring the size down a little bit. Make the grade 6, the glow. I like everything glowing in my intros if you haven't seen it. Highlights, you can mess with the highlight balance, maybe around 50, that looks good. That looks about right. I don't want it too bright. That looks okay. You can copy these settings. The size is 4.8, grade is 6, glow is 100, highlights is 50, the highlight bias is negative 0.24. Alright, go up to Light Flex, and we're going to get that nice blue effect on the intro. We're going to actually bring it down just a little bit. And then go to Tools, and that's fine. We need to drag, we'll drag another layer on later. Go to Contrast, and bump the contrast up. So maybe about 3, or 0.3, excuse me. We're going to drag on some curves. And we're going to do the normal curve setup that most people do if you're not familiar with it. You can kind of see that it just contrasts everything. It's like a better contrast. So you can kind of mess with it. I don't actually want too much, but this is looking fine. And then from lens, that's pretty much it. Post as well. You can bump the exposure up if you'd like. It might look a little much. Okay, that looks fine. So just hit finished. And now you'll see we've got a nice color correction. You can go to our black solid and put that on top of the layer. And yeah, we're pretty much done. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below if you guys want to see anything else in the near future. I will be doing these every week as long as I can upload them. And just keep on feeding me ideas. I came up with this one myself. No one told me to do it, but I've gotten some requests for color correction. So yeah, just leave a comment down below what you want me to do. And yeah, I'll leave the intro at the end of this video. I'll see you guys later. Peace.